I'm gonna start off with my first, I got a TBR jar. It's like a sweetie jar. I actually do need to add more in here because I've put some more on my TBR list, but I thought I would start off the vlog with me choosing my first book of the month. It's the 1st of June today as I'm filming this, so let's see what we get. So I do actually think I have this on my, oh no, I don't think I do. This is the Covent Garden Ladies by Hallie, I don't know if you can see that, Hallie, but I'm telling you anyway, Hallie Rubenhold. That will be my next read. I think that's likely a Kindle one. So yeah, we shall see, and you are going to get my updates as and when I feel the need for an update. Why is this so awkward? I will keep you updated. I actually forgot to mention that I had actually finished a book today. I totally forgot about it. I've actually finished a physical copy of One Day by David Nichols, a copy I bought from The Works. This tells us the story of Emma and Dexter. They meet at uni in Edinburgh, and it just follows their friendship, relationship, love over a series of years, and the sort of trials and tribulations of life and growing up. I liked it. It's 4 stars. I loved the Netflix I loved the Netflix adaptation. I thought it was done really well. Absolutely loved it. The film, not so much. I watched the film after watching the adaptation. I didn't think the film was as good, but I loved the adaptation. It made me want to read this book. I normally don't like that kind of trope of like second chances. I wouldn't say I don't like it, actually. I'd say it's not my favourite. I do tend to get a bit annoyed by it sometimes. I think when it's done well, it can be good. It basically has a lot of tropes in here that I don't particularly like usually, but the Netflix adaptation did such a good job of it. I actually liked the Netflix drama better. I fell in love with it. I thought it was just brilliant. The soundtrack was brilliant. The dialogue was good. The acting was brilliant. It was just done so well. And like, if you describe this to me, like if I would never have picked this up. Like, this is a book I would never have, no, I just wouldn't. I think we've all been in a situation similar to something like this. Emma essentially loves Dexter and loves him in the beginning anyway more than he loves her, and he's a bit arrogant and just a young guy trying to, you know, see the world and thinks the grass is greener and, you know, all that kind of typical stuff. And so he kind of strings her along almost. I got to say, I didn't like Dexter as a character. I thought he was quite immature. I thought he was very arrogant. He does get a bit better as he gets older. I didn't vibe with it. Like, I just didn't like their relation. I wouldn't say I didn't like their relationship. I did, because I have been in something very similar. It's one of these books, it's one of these stories that it will resonate with you or it won't, and based on that is whether you will like it or not. It doesn't shy away from difficult things that happen in life, like death, like loss of friendship, loss of death, loss in general. It has a lot of themes running through it, but it was wrote in such a way that was so honest. It was so kind of like, I can guarantee you have related to something in this book before, like something. It's a very kind of uncomfortable book in a way, because you can almost see yourself in it and like, oh yeah, like, I don't know, maybe it was because I've been in something kind of similar. I'm quite 5-star because, like I said, there were a few things, and I really don't like the way Dexter was basically like, more or less, in the end, he was just kind of like,
okay, Emma Morley, yeah, I guess you'll do.
Once he's kind of done having his fun and then, you know, settling down, and then that didn't work out. And Emma called him out on it once and then just kind of dropped it. You're like 37 now, come on, you should know better. Like, in your early 20s, it's kind of forgivable, but like now, like, no. Do you want to read more from this author? I did put his books on my TBR now, so I do want to read more from him. I don't know, I think I want to reread this. I think I'm going to keep hold of this for now, and I think I might reread it. And the only thing I will say about this book as well, I forgot to mention, I remember like, so I put on my review, like on Goodreads, I put, why do they like each other again? Because honestly, it's like they hate each other and they just don't seem to get on at all. Like, they have a bit of banter and there's definitely, they have a good sense of humour together, but that's about it. Like, I wouldn't even go as far to say that they really necessarily respect each other, and I don't think they do. I don't think they have good boundaries. So I finished this morning and I was reading it in bed to my partner. and we were both crying because I knew where it gets to the bit where she dies, and I was like crying, and he was crying, and I was like, I cried at the Netflix drama, I cried at this. I didn't cry in the movie though. I don't remember crying in the movie. So yeah, I did actually finish a book today. I forgot to mention. On the 1st of June. So I'm gonna read a little bit more on my Kindle, which is The Covent Garden Ladies, the book that inspired the acclaimed BBC Two series Harlots by Hallie Rubenhold. There you go. I've never heard of the Harlots, or Harlots I should say. So yeah, I'm gonna read a bit of this in bed, and then yeah, I'm gonna call it a night because I have work tomorrow. I've got to get up early for my morning run, and yeah, so I'll see you in the next video. Since we last spoke, I have read 3 books, 2 of which were on my Kindle and 1 a physical copy. So I'll start with the first book I read, which was in my last clip, The Ladies of Covent Garden, I think that's what it's called, by Hallie Rubenhold. So this was all about women in the I don't know, is it sex industry? I don't know really what to call it. I guess sex workers back in, like, I think it's like the 1700s, early 1800s, specifically London, and obviously specifically Covent Garden. There was a book, I believe, published around that time called The Harris's List, which essentially listed all of the prostitutes or sex workers of that time. So it went into a little bit of how that came about and all their lives and things like that. I gotta say, for me personally, I was a little bit disappointed with this. It wasn't quite what I expected. I don't know, I felt like it just wasn't for me. I don't know what it was. I just found myself getting a bit bored. I've also got another one on my list to read from this author called The Five. I think it's called The Five, and this is about Jack the Ripper, and it goes into his victims and like what their lives were like, and apparently that's really good. That's had really good reviews. And I did see, when I finished this book, I did see on the reviews on Goodreads, like, people were saying like, oh, you know, I came from The Five and this wasn't as good. So people are saying like, still read that book because apparently that book is good. But yeah, for me personally, this just fell a bit short, and I don't know whether it was just I don't know what it was. I've been noticing lately that non-fiction isn't really doing it for me much anymore at the moment. So yeah, I don't know, I couldn't get really behind it, and I just found it a little boring. I hate to say that, but I did. It was okay. I gave it a 2 stars, which means, as you may know, that that's just not for me, but it is good. It was researched very well. It was just, I don't know, I just found it a bit boring. I hate to say that, but I just did. It just wasn't doing it for me. There were some interesting things, like it wasn't that bad. That's all I was gonna say. I would say if you're interested in that, if that sounds like something like right up your alley, then I would say go for it. I didn't really know much about the Harris's List before then, so I was a bit like, oh. And I was talking to Andy about it. He's like, oh yeah, the Harris's List. I was like, I don't know anything about this. Like, so I think if you have some knowledge about that beforehand, like a little bit, even background knowledge, and you might be more interested in this, because I didn't know anything, clearly. Then I read The Housemaid by Sarah Denzil. I think it's Sarah A. Denzil, I can't quite remember. And this is a mystery thriller. So this was about a girl. I think she's like 21 or 22. She's in her early 20s, and her name's Ruby. I remembered her name was Ruby. She's quite poor. She's just sofa surfing, living with friends, that kind of thing. And she decides that she wants to go and work in, I can't remember the name of the place, but essentially it's a big manor place, like it's a big hall, it's a big manor place. And she goes, I'm going to work there. And so she becomes a maid there. And this place is like a massive, great big stately home in the north of England. It's huge. It's been in the family for generations. They're really wealthy, like super rich. And she essentially goes to work there and there's already another young woman that also works there, around her age, and it's basically a bit like a modern Downton Abbey. It's a little bit like that, which I didn't know going in it would be quite, which sounds silly because it's called The Maid, but I didn't know it would be quite so focused on that. I thought it was more to do like the mystery, which there was, but anyway. So then we find out, and by the way, like I said, with my books I do spoil, unfortunately, so yeah, skip ahead if you're not interested. But with this, I did find, so essentially there's so you have obviously the main character Ruby, and then she has her friend who's also a maid and she's her age, and I can't pronounce her name, I'm really sorry, so I'm just going to call her Rosie because it's the closest thing I can think of how to pronounce her name. So her and Rosie essentially become best friends, and they have a really good relationship. Actually, I really like their relationship. The kind of weird thing that she's going in for, and that her mum, because she doesn't really know her family. I think her dad doesn't speak to her. I don't quite know the relationship with her dad, I can't remember, but I know her mum died quite young at this manor place, I think, and she wants to basically go back and find out what really happened, and she also just wants to work there, and I don't know, there's really weird reasons why she wants to be there, I guess just for money as well. So yeah, the book is basically all about her relationships, the dynamics between people. There's a kind of rich and poor kind of theme going on, which you can expect from this kind of storyline, I guess. But yeah, I didn't really like this. It was really easy to read, which I did appreciate. I did really like the relationship between Rosie and the main character Ruby. I thought they were great, and I did like her relationships with other people. But now here's the thing, okay, so she gets with her boss's son, right? And again, I think he's about her age. I think he's a few years older, but yeah. So she kind of gets with him. They have this kind of weird, and it's never really established what it is. It's kind of like, I don't know what it is. It's not friendship. It's not relationship. It's just, I guess she's in a kind of situationship. It's really strange. And he's kind of like toying with her and like playing with her and like, you like me, you trust me, and she's like,
sure, yeah.
And then she's doing it, and then soon after she's like, I shouldn't have done that,
I should not have done that.
She's like, you know, that Hagrid meme, and it's like, girl, what are you doing? She was just playing with this guy and he was playing with her, and I was getting a bit bored of it, to be honest. It was like, it just kept repeating itself. They kept saying and doing the same things. Like, he was like, do you trust me? And she's like,
no.
And then she'd like run off, and then he'd be like, next time he met her, he'd be like, do you trust me? She'd be like,
no, yes.
And then they'd run off, and it's just like, okay, this is getting a bit boring now. Like, the first time it was kind of cute, and now it's getting a bit boring. Like, it's overplayed. Just felt that there was a really good premise there, but it was just really cliche. It was like the characters were really one-dimensional. It was just like, I predicted everything. It was just one of those books. If you do like that kind of, you know, Downton Abbey type kind of story, then you probably will get on with this a lot more than I did. I gave it 2 stars, again, which means for some people I could see it working. Like I said, there were a few little things sprinkled in that I did like, but generally it was just a no. I just found it started off really well, actually, and then the pacing, that was another problem I had. The pacing was all off, and it just got more and more far-fetched as it went on. And I think I've read so many thrillers now, and I used to say like, oh, thriller's my favourite genre, especially psychological thriller, but I think as I'm getting on, I just find they're not holding my attention like they used to, and I just find them a bit boring and a bit predictable, a bit too boring, and it's just like, can you come up with something else? I don't know, it's just like, come on. Yeah, so overall I would say read it if you're into Downton Abbey, but it's like, I don't know, I just feel like the way they treat her is very Victorian, and I feel like it's set in, like, you know, present day, like today's day and age, and I'm thinking, okay, I get that they're rich, so there maybe is some privilege and stuff there, but surely, like, she does have rights, and like, she did have time off and stuff, but I was like, I don't know, there's just some things I thought, I just don't think that would have happened, but I get it, it's a book, whatever, make it up. There was also, I found some like kind of loose ties that just didn't really tie up, and there was just odd things happening that didn't really have an explanation for, and then the son and the father were like working together. It was a bit of a hot mess. I have read other books from this author and I have really enjoyed them. I gave them either like a 4 or 3 star, or like a high 3 star, 4 star. But this was just, yeah, this wasn't my favourite at all. It was a 2 star for me, but it was more of like a really kind of mid to high 2 star, very low 3 star. It was almost a 3 star, but it just fell off because it was just too far-fetched towards the end. It just went, so I can't get behind it. So that was my experience with The Housemaid. And then I read this in a day, and this is my physical copy of Undoctored by Adam Kay, or should I say Dr. Adam Kay. So this version I actually got from Hay on Wye back in June 2023. So that's how long it's taken me to finally read it. And this was £9.99 from Richard Booth's bookshop. So it's quite a lot of money for like a paperback, but it is like a different version. It's got bonus chapters at the end, I think. Yeah, includes new chapters. So anyway, for those of you who don't know, This author I should say, he wrote This Is Going to Hurt, which then got turned into a BBC series, mini-series, which, by the way, I loved both. I did like the TV series that little bit more, though. I think I gave the first book he did 4 stars. I really enjoyed it, but there were a few things in there that I couldn't really agree with, but that was why I could only give it 4 stars. I recommend that you read that first, and this is like kind of the sequel, but in this one he talks, I didn't even say what it was about, did I? So this is a memoir of his time this is a memoir of his time as a doctor working in the NHS, so working in the UK as a doctor, and he just details his experience doing that, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. And this is like kind of like a follow-up on that, but he talks more about his personal life. I know a lot of people don't like it and they prefer the other book, but I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. I read it in a day. I was
Laughing
out loud. I was laughing out loud. I can't remember a book that last made me laugh out loud like that. I loved it better than the other one, which I didn't think I was going to. I went in with kind of like, oh, what more has he got to say, you know, because we kind of heard everything in the last one. We've seen the TV series, well, I have anyway, so I was like, but yeah, laughing out loud. It was so funny, and I think, like I said, this isn't going to be for everyone, but he had my sense of humour. Like, it's kind of sarcastic, it's tongue-in-cheek. I loved it. So I just noticed there's a bit of light. I'm like glowing today. Fuck off. I've got like a halo. I'm like shining. Again, he talks more about his experiences, but he talks more about how he got into becoming a doctor. So he talks about obviously the process of that, his expectations, what people in his circle expect of him, family, friends, colleagues, patients, you know. This is actually very dark as well, so be prepared, because it is very... He talks a lot about his own experiences. Now, he's gay, and he's in a relationship with a man, and he talks a lot about how that can affect you as a doctor, especially this was more in the sort of early 2000s when he was a doctor, and I think it was like the early to mid 2000s, so it was still kind of a bit, you know, like not quite, it was accepted, but kind of, you know, not really, if you know what I mean. But he talks about that, and he, you know, I'm a straight person, so this was really interesting to see a perspective that I would never think about. For example, like he mentions when he books hotels, sometimes people are like, oh, it's a double, you know, and he's with his partner, and they're like, oh, you do know it's a double bed you've booked, right? And he's like, yeah. Like, he talks a lot about you know, being quite poor for a while, because, you know, the money wasn't very good when he was first starting out, but he also does acknowledge his privilege a lot in this one, so I did like him a lot more in this one than the other one. He's very more honest. I say that a lot about books. I've noticed that. On my other video I realised I said, like, it's so honest, but it is. I appreciate people that can kind of bare their soul a little bit, and he did that. And I do tend to love a good memoir, especially these type of books, so I think this is just for me. This is right up my alley. My only tiny criticism, and it is teeny tiny, is there was something in there that I didn't quite agree with, but it was teeny, and he only kind of brushed over it, but he's not, and I know this is a thing with a lot of healthcare professionals, but they are very, not all of them, but most of them can look down their noses a lot at like natural remedies, and I do get it because it's got a bad stigma in the press, and I totally understand that, but I do think sometimes if it helps someone, what's the issue? Like, you know, if someone chooses to go natural first, you know, if they, for example, they try, I don't know, as long as it's not dangerous and it's safe enough, you know, like, I don't know, some people use like herbal things, you know, if you know what I mean, or like other kind of things, and I don't know, he was a little bit like looking down his nose a bit at that, and I do get it to some extent, but I do think, okay, but if they're being safe about it and it's fine, like, at least they tried something, right? So I don't know, that's just my thing, and you know, so I know why a lot of people don't agree with it, but I'm just like, it's not really the end of the world, is it? Like, so what if someone wants to try like a spiritual thing? Like, if it works for them, why would you look down your nose at that? Like, it's obviously working for them, they're happy, it's safe. I don't know, but that was it. That was only my little gripe. But yeah, I liked it, guys. 5 star. So that was it for now. I'm currently reading on my Kindle Abolish the Monarchy by Graham Smith. As it says on the tin, it is about the monarchy, so that is what's happening. I don't know when I'm next gonna update you guys, because drumroll, it's Saturday today and I am getting married on Thursday. We're going to Edinburgh, and it's just me, Andy, and his parents. They're driving us down there, so I don't know when I'm gonna really have time to film. It's quite far for us. I'm from the southwest of England, so it's quite a long trek, and I don't read in the car or anything. I literally just listen to music and try and sleep because I suffer really badly with motion sickness, so that'll be fun. So yeah, we're going to be doing that, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be really exciting. I will share a few little photos and videos. I won't bore you all though, because yeah, this is mainly a book channel, but I will put a little summit in there, you know, because it is part of my vlog. So we will do that, and I will keep you updated. And yeah, so we're going to be in Edinburgh for a bit, and then we're coming back for like a day, and then we'll go into the like Cotswoldsy area, and we're going to be staying in a shepherd's hut, and it's near Hay-on-Wye, so we might even go to Hay-on-Wye for a day. So yeah, I'll keep you, that's probably where I'm going to be reading a lot more. So yes, we shall see how it goes, but yeah, that's it for now. Like I said, I'll keep you updated if I do buy or read any more books. This afternoon actually we're going down to a place called Greek on the Docks, and we're going to go for a meal, and it's chucking it down with rain. Well, it looks like it's about to. It's very grey outside and not very nice. So we get married on the 12th of June. Looking forward to it. Very happy. I'm in a good mood actually. I've been in a very good mood, so I'm trying to keep with that. So yeah, that's all I have for you, and I'll see you in the next clip where I may be married, or I don't know, maybe I finished a book or something, I don't know. Completely forgot to say in my other video, I'd actually finished so far, as of filming this, I finished 26 books. My goal for the year is 50. I always try and set it at 50 because we're in June now, so it's halfway through the year and I've just gone halfway through. So yeah, I was getting a bit worried because I wasn't doing my reading goal, and I was a little bit like, oh no, because like end of May I was like slipping up a little bit. There's nothing wrong with that, I know, but it's just a thing I have. But yeah, so I am on track, so that's good to know. Happy with that. Sorry, I don't know why I did that. The last 3 books I've read have been really good, so I've just kept reading, and I've had a bit of time to read, so I've been really happy with that. I've had quite, although the last kind of 1 or 2 books were like 2 stars, the last one I read was really good. So yeah, I'm having a good reading time, so I just thought I'd update you because I forgot to mention that. Hello, I thought I would come on because I wanted to do a little book update. I'm in Edinburgh now. It's been such a lovely day. We got in yesterday and it's been beautiful. The weather's been lovely. We get married tomorrow, which I'm quite nervous, but I'm really excited at the same time. But I thought I'd give you a bit of a book update. As you can see, we're in our Airbnb, which is amazing. We're right on the Royal Mile. It's beautiful, it's so spacious, it's just what we need. It is a little pricey, but you know, we're getting married, so. And Andy's parents did pay for one of our nights here, which we are grateful for as part of our wedding present. So yes, very, very happy, very excited. I thought I would update you because we went into a place called Blackwell's Bookshop, which I think is in one of the B-roll, and I thought I would show you what I bought. The first book that I bought was Sociopath by Patricia Gagney, is it? Sorry, I can't see because it's got a sticker there, so I can't really see. I just thought that this sounded really, by the way, I'm really sorry if you can hear building works. They've got building works going on outside, and I've tried to shut the doors, but yeah, so you might hear some building works. But anyway, this is a memoir about a sociopath, and I saw it and I read a little bit of it and I thought, this sounds really good. And it was a 3 for 2 offer, so we got Andy's dad a book as well, so I thought I might as well get me books as well. I don't know much about it, but I thought it sounded really good. Then I bought The Life Impossible by Matt Haig. Now Matt Haig is the author of one of my favourite books, Midnight Library. I know a lot of people have a bit of a love-hate relationship with that book, but I personally really liked it and I kind of want to reread it again actually. This is about a retired teacher is left in a rundown house in Ibiza by a long lost friend. Curiosity gets the better of her. She arrives in Ibiza with a one-way ticket, no guidebook and no plan. And I started to read, I wasn't sure about this because this is like something that isn't my usual kind of like thing, but actually the first, like when I was first like, because I always try to do that with a book, that if it sounds good, like if I'm in a book shop, I will try and read like the first kind of bit. And I just thought, I think the opening was just, I don't know why, it just intrigued me. And it says something along the lines of, I can't think I can see it now, but it said, where is it? Once upon a time, there was an old woman who lived the most boring life in the universe. And I don't know why, but that really hooked me. I don't know why, because that sounds really boring. Like, why would you want to read about that? And then I saw my book. This wasn't for the 3 for 2, so that was what I got in 3 for 2. And then I got this book because it's next on my TBR, because I finished my other book, which I need to update you as well about. Though the Bodies Fall by Noel O'Regan. So this is a story about duty, despair, and the chance encounters upon which fate turns. I didn't know if they were going to have it in the shop, but they did. So I bought this. And this is another person, actually. There's a theme going on. He lives alone in a bungalow, and this person lives alone in a bungalow. So there's obviously a theme here. I think this is set, yeah, it is. It's set in Ireland. This is all about, like, sibling rivalry, I guess, and about, I think it's something to do, like, his family, or he owns the house and the sisters want to get rid of it or something, and it's about his fight for it. And I think it's meant to be quite funny. Apparently it's got lots of dark humour, so that, yeah, this is my next read, so I'm really excited about this. So yeah, that was my sort of mini book haul, if you like. So I bought these 3 books, which, so I had finished Abolish the Monarchy by Graham Smith, and it's, like it says, it's a non-fiction book all about why we should basically not have a monarchy here in the UK, the British monarchy specifically. It wasn't done in a biased way, actually, because he did see the arguments from the other side. I am very anti-monarchy. I don't believe in having a monarchy, especially in the UK. He does go on to sort of see both points. He does try and do it in a very, I think, quite an unbiased way. Some people may disagree, but that's what I thought. But yeah, I really liked it. I gave it 4 stars. There were some parts where it did kind of miss me a little bit, just because I felt that it went a little bit like, okay, this is a bit boring now. But generally, it gave, the points that he was making were very, they were very informative, but they weren't overdone. It didn't come across as pretentious, you know, it's like you were just talking to someone. Like I said, there were a few things where it did lose me a little bit. It made some really good, interesting points. It pointed out the bias in the media for the monarchy. It pointed out the arguments that monarchists will use and why these aren't very helpful, or why these are actually downright even sometimes, I don't know what the word is, not bad, but I guess bad. Like, yeah, he does a really good job of that. If you are not sure about the monarchy, or you're like, I don't see a problem with them, like, they're still here, read this book and you'll change your mind, because it's really interesting to know actually how much of an influence they do have over the UK and law and things like that. So, you know, if you're one of those people that's like, why, if it ain't broke, why fix it? Or it's just something that's always been, why can't we just carry on with it? Read this book and you'll probably, hopefully, change your mind, or at least see another point of view on that. So yeah, that's all my book update. I expect the next update I will have is actually me getting married, but I thought I would jump on now because yeah, I just wanted to update you guys. We have a few minutes and then I think we're just gonna go around Edinburgh for a little bit more. Next clips I will be married. There might be a few little other clips sprinkled in, but yeah, so there we go. Hello. So I have come back now from Scotland. We returned yesterday. A married woman. Sorry. Because I can't bother to put makeup on, so this is how I'm looking. A little bit sunburn. I've been sitting in the garden still. Sorry. This isn't OnlyFans. Yeah, and I've just got a bit sunburned because I sat in the sun reading, and we did a bit of gardening this morning. Anyway, I won't bore you. The wedding was beautiful. Absolutely had one of the most fantastic times ever. Yeah, beautiful wedding, beautiful ceremony. I don't really like calling it a wedding because we essentially got eloped with Andy's parents, so I don't really like calling it a wedding. I guess technically it is, but it's more of a ceremony than the wedding. I think the wedding's more the party, if you know what I mean. But anyway, so yeah, we did that, had a good time. Like I said, got back yesterday quite late. Well, later than we thought because our train was delayed. If you guys would like to hear more about how we got eloped to Scotland and things like that, and the costs of everything, I don't mind doing that at all. That would obviously be a completely separate video. But yeah, if you're interested, then I will talk to you about that. But I wanted to do a little bit of a book update because I finished this book. So it's Though the Body's Fall by Noel O'Regan. I finished this just now, literally, so I thought I'll come on and talk to you guys. So I bought this when we were in Scotland. I'd love to tell you what this is about, but it's a bit like nothing really happens. I don't even know what genre it is. I guess it's like a mystery. So essentially there's a guy and he lives there. So it's set in Ireland and he lives a cliff on an island. His mum and dad have since died, so he kind of just lives in this house with his dog. And essentially it just deals with kind of like his sense of isolation and loneliness. He does still have, I think he has two sisters. Yeah, they're two sisters that he sees. And they kind of visit him semi-regularly. Sometimes they stay over, well, one of them does. And it just essentially goes through that. But because he lives over here, it's quite a common suicide spot for people to obviously... And his job, since he was younger, I say job like that, is to essentially stop them, prevent them from doing that by talking to them, listening to them, all that kind of thing. And sometimes they stay in the cottage, sometimes they just need to be talked to for a few hours or whatever it is. He learned that through his mum, because I think his dad died when he was quite young. So it deals with a lot of loss. It deals with all the obviously suicidal thoughts, grief, so there's a lot of triggers in there. This was, I feel bad saying it was boring, but it was a little bit boring. I did kind of like the writing though, I'm not gonna lie. I did relate to it a little bit. I gave it 3 stars because that to me is a very average, middle of the road book. It wasn't quite what I expected, I'm not gonna lie. I thought this was gonna be more kind of like, I don't know, like maybe a little bit scary, and it wasn't. I thought it was a little bit, not horror, but I thought it was a little bit thrillery, kind of mystery, but it wasn't really like that at all. Just fine, it was okay. The writing was quite good. It's got a lot of high like ratings on this though, which I was quite surprised about. I was like, really? Because I didn't think it was that great. Like I said, there were a few little things I did relate to, especially with like the sibling stuff. It was nearly a 2-star, but I thought no, you know, there were some bits that I did actually quite like, and there were some sort of things that were very relatable to me. But I do think if those things weren't in there, I think I would have given this a 2-star, maybe like a high 2-star, but yeah, probably a 2-star. But because there were some things I did find quite relatable and I could relate to, and I think someone would relate to this. I think most people would relate to certain things in this. The guy himself, the character, the main character, he's very kind of like, I don't know, like he's very, I don't know, I got kind of autistic vibes a little bit. I think he might be on the autistic spectrum. It's hard to say, but I don't know whether the author intentionally made him that way. I don't know. And I'm just looking at myself, guys, and I am actually so sunburned. You know, like you don't realise, I don't know if you've ever been that sunburned before, but I could sort of feel myself burn. I thought, oh, I'll be fine. And then as I'm getting in, it's gone redder and redder. Wear sunscreen. I didn't wear any sunscreen. I don't tend to wear sunscreen because I'm stupid, but don't do that. Wear sunscreen. Don't be like me. Yeah, because it's currently really hot today in the UK. It's 26 degrees. I think with me, to be honest, I forget to wear sunscreen. I'm like, oh yeah, shit, I should have probably put some sunscreen on, and then it's too late. So I recommend you read this. I mean, here's the thing, if you're Irish, that sounds so bad, like if you're Irish, read this, because it's set in Ireland. But yeah, I would just say if you're Irish, top of the morning to you. Yeah, maybe you'll relate more to this. I think there was definitely some Irish things in there that I couldn't really relate to because obviously I'm English. I have no Irish family as far as I'm aware of. So there was no kind of like, yeah, I couldn't really relate to it. But I think if you are Irish, you have Irish family, you may relate to some of the things they say and do in here. But yeah, overall, it was just fine. It's one of those books, I read a book. That's the only book I have finished so far. It took me quite a while to read that because obviously, what with me being in and around Scotland, that's it. We're heading off tomorrow to our shepherd's hut, where apparently we're not going to have any Wi-Fi, and I don't know what the signal's like, but it is in the middle of the sticks. We're staying in a shepherd's hut in Herefordshire, so I'm hoping to get a lot more reading done. Maybe a trip to Hay-on-Wye, which, if you don't know what Hay-on-Wye is, it's a little tiny village in sort of the border of Wales and England, and it's just full of books. Basically, it's like a book village. It's getting quite popular actually, so yeah, we might go there. We don't know yet. So yeah, so that's it. That's my update for you guys, and I will see you in the next B-roll. I'm now at the shepherd's hut. We got here on Wednesday. It is now Friday and we leave tomorrow morning. So I thought I would come on because I finished a book, I bought some books. Hopefully you've seen the B-roll that I've put in of Hay-on-Wye and the shepherd's hut that we're in. It's really lovely, by the way, really beautiful. So I finished on my Kindle yesterday The Har by David Sodergren. I don't know if you can see that. And I really like this. I gave it a 5-star. It's more of like a low 5-star. Yeah, like a low 5-star. It wasn't quite a full 5-star for me, but it was definitely in the 5-star. I couldn't not give it a 5-star. So this, if you don't know, is a horror story, and it tells a story of a elderly woman who lives in Scotland, and she lives on her own. And essentially there's this big corporation, property developers that want to build on her land, and they've offered her loads of money, like priceless amounts of money, and she said no. And they're getting to the point now where they're getting a bit fed up because everyone else, all the other elderly residents, have sort of given in and taken the money and gone off. She has refused because for her this is where she met her husband, and you know, her late husband I should say, and you know, where she's just got all the memories. She was born and bred there, and it, you know, as far as she sees it, it's her home, and they can offer all the money under the sun and she will not leave. And they're getting really irritated with her, and it gets to the point where essentially it comes to a bit, I don't know if a standstill is quite right, but it does definitely comes to a point where they're like, something's got to give here. And I honestly did not think I would love it as much as I did. It was brilliant. They really captured the atmosphere of how cold it gets in Scotland, because I think she lives near a beach, like a coastal, yeah, she lives like near the coastal area of Scotland. She comes across this like blob thing that can turn into her late husband, and it sounds really weird, right? It sounds kind of stupid, but trust me, just go with this. And I think that's the thing with this, I think that's what makes it, is the writing was so well done. Like, it didn't feel cheesy, it didn't feel silly, if that makes sense. I loved her character as well. I thought she was very resilient, but it also goes on a lot about like elderly people and loneliness and sort of feeling of sort of helplessness and shame, and I don't know, it was told in such a way, and I actually got quite teary in parts. I didn't actually cry, but you know, the love and longing she has for her late husband and her family, and it was so cute. It was cute, and it was what I said after I saw a review, and that's what I'm calling it as well. It's called, somebody said in their review, this is like sentimental horror, and I was like, oh my god, yeah, it is. Because don't get me wrong, this is really gory and this is kind of vile, but it didn't, at least I don't think it felt at any point like overdone, even though we have this great big thing, like blob thing that can turn into like that she starts to bond with, that can turn into her late husband. It's essentially like an alien thing. The worst people are these American property developers. My only criticism with this book, I would say, was those characters, is the villains, I guess. I don't know what you want to call them, antagonists. They were a little bit cartoonish in parts. I found they could have been fleshed out a little bit more. They were a bit overdone, I guess. Highly recommend, and I've put all of his books now on my TBR because I was really impressed. I don't think it was that gory. I don't think it was that horrific. Don't get me wrong, there are scenes in there that are, sure, they are bad, if you know what I mean. They are quite, like, you know, I think there's a part in it where something crawls up the bum of one of them. This blob thing crawls up the bum, and yeah, it's grim, but it's so good. And that woman, I can't remember shock again, I can't remember her name, but she was a badass bitch. Like, she's a baddie. So I finished that. I'm currently reading Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. I've not actually read this before, and I feel like one of those people, can I even call myself a reader because I haven't read this? So I feel like everyone in the world has read this, so I'm currently reading this. I'm hoping, I don't know if I'll finish it today, I'm not sure, probably not, but I am on page 72 at the moment, so yeah, we'll see about that one. I've got to be honest, so far this isn't really gripping me. I have also read Sharp Objects by this author, and that was okay. I gave it 3 stars, but I'm gonna read it because I obviously give in to peer pressure, clearly. I was panicking a little bit because I brought with me obviously my Kindle read and my Gone Girl book, and I thought, what happens if I finish them both? I've got nothing else to read, and like, yeah, I could buy more books, right, and then I'd have something to read like when I went to Hay today, but luckily there was a book in the Shepherd's Hut that I found. I thought maybe I could read this. I thought maybe I could read this book, and this, by the way, I hate the cover. No offense to the owners who rented this out to us, but it's a vile cover. But it's called On the Black Hill by Bruce Chatwin, there we go. I thought it sounded really interesting, and obviously I can't take this with me, but I was thinking I'm going to add this onto my TBR. Where we're staying, we are by what's called the Black Hills in Wales, because we're on the border of England and Wales. So this tells a story, and I think this guy's dead now, so the author, I should say, but it tells us the story of oh my god, I can't speak. It tells the story of identical twin brothers who grew up on a farm in rural Wales and never leave home. They till the rough soil and sleep in the same bed, touched only occasionally by the advances of the 20th century. In depicting the lives of Benjamin and Lewis and their interactions with their small local community, Chatwin comments movingly on the larger questions of human experience. So I think it just tells about them growing up essentially in this kind of area, because where we're staying is like Herefordshire, Caswell, I'm not quite sure how you pronounce it. And I started reading like a tiny bit, just because I always do that with a book if I'm not sure if I'm going to like it. I read like a tiny bit and I just thought, it sounds good. And the first paragraph is this: for 42 years, Lewis and Benjamin Jones slept side by side in their parents' bed at their farm, which was known as the Vision. It's kind of weird, they're 42 and still sleeping in the same bed. I just thought, actually, I want to read that. Today we've been to Hay-on-Wye. It wasn't that busy, it was really lovely actually. It wasn't busy, it was nice. I have been to Hay-on-Wye before, this is my second time. The drive there was a bit, because so we're quite out in the sticks and it's all country lanes, and if you know the UK country lanes, you know what it's like. And we've had to take my car because Andy's car's not working at the moment. A long story, I'm not going to go into it. And I don't really like to use my car that much for things like this because we're trying to keep it as like the nice car, if you know what I mean. And yeah, but we've had to use it and I'm not cancelling the trip. So anyway, that's really boring. But yeah, Hay-on-Wye is really good. And if you've never been, I would recommend, and you're a book lover like me, I would recommend you go at least once. If you can, obviously, if you're able to, I would recommend you go. I think my favourite bookshop is Richard Booth's bookshop, the Cinema Bookshop, and My new favourite one is Gay on Why, which I'll talk a bit about in a minute. And I think that's it. I think there's probably like a couple of others I quite like, but definitely Richard Booth, because Richard Booth's it's really big and it has a selection of new and old, so secondhand books and brand new books, and it's quite easy to navigate. It's the only one I find quite easy to like, okay, this is where, like, it clearly says what sections you're in. So I'll start with this one first, because I bought from there Food for Free by, it doesn't actually have the author's name, Richard maybe. So obviously this is, I've already started tabbing it. I bought this for £7 in Richard Booth's bookshop. So I've been looking for a foraging book for a long time, because I want to start foraging, and this has always come out as one that's recommended. It has a few little recipes, so I want to start doing that. And like, these are all the ones that are in June, the month we're in now. So I want to start foraging. I'm going to be a little forager. So yeah, I thought we would start on that. I'm not going to go crazy. I don't know what I'm going to do, but if I get really into it, maybe I'll upgrade. But I thought it's pocket size, it's perfect. Then the next book I got, The Salt Path by Raina Wynn. If you can see it, is it gonna, there we go. It's got a lovely gold, my voice, got a lovely gold. It's got a lovely gold shiny bit there. I don't know, what's that bit called again? My mind's gone blank. Binding, what do you call that bit? Oh my god, I feel so dumb. This is a bit of a story behind this, because when we were in Scotland, we went to a cinema in Morningside, and I can't remember what it's called, and hopefully editing Beth will put it here somewhere. It was like an old kind of vintage style cinema, and it was on a whim, and we just thought, shall we go and watch something? And I looked at what was on. I was like, there's nothing really that I want to see. And I saw this. I said, oh, I've heard of that book, and it's had quite mixed reviews. And I thought, well, let's go see it. And normally I don't do that. Normally I'm one of those people that likes to read the book first. I would recommend you see it, but here's the thing, it's very, very slow paced. So if you think you can't sit in a cinema especially and watch something slow, it's very slow paced, then I wouldn't watch it. I'll tell you what it's about in a minute, don't worry. I think me and Andy both agreed, like, it's not one we'd necessarily go out of our way to watch again, and it did get me a little bit teary in places. You've got to be in the mood for it though. I think it's one of those films, and because obviously it was on our honeymoon, it was about sort of two lovers, and it fitted for us. Like, it was very much chosen well for that moment. I think if I'd have watched that on Netflix randomly, I don't think I would have liked it. It's definitely a mood one, I feel. So I thought, well, I have to get the book now, because I did actually quite like the movie. It wasn't like the best thing ever, but it was good. It's quite a short book, like, it's not that long. So what's this about, I hear you ask? Well, this is very popular. So like I said, it's been made into a movie with Gillian Anderson, I had to think of her name then, Gillian Anderson and Jason Isaacs. And essentially it's about this couple, and they live in the southwest, I think, not sure, but they are made homeless. Husband's friend sort of scams him a little bit, and he invests money into him, and anyway, long story short, they lose loads of money through kind of like scummy friend. They go, okay, let's just do a walk with essentially just some backpacking stuff to go with them. And they're both at this point, I think they're in their 50s, and her husband's very unwell. He has a type, and I can't remember, I'm really sorry, I can't remember the name, but he has a rare condition, and essentially it makes him a little bit like, his balance is all off and he starts forgetting things. But they find that his health improves while doing this walk. At first though, his health is really bad. And by the way, this is all a true story. I don't know if I'd said this, but yeah, it's all a true story. It details their life going through what's called the Salt Path, which is this walk you can do, and it's all around like I'll probably put a picture up somewhere, around like Cornwall and like the south coast of England. And you can do it, and it's essentially all around that coast. You know, like the boot bit we have in the UK, and like I said, I'll put a picture up. It's essentially, you do that. You go through a lot of heartache, heartbreak. It's the stuff they find on the way, it's the people they meet, it's the experience. Like, they really did experience life. By the way, I'm really sorry if you can hear sheep. Like I said, we're in a shepherd's hut, and there's sheep literally just outside, and they bleep. I don't know, what would you call it, bleep? They go there constantly, if that's what you can hear. I don't know how much it will pick that up, but yeah, that's what it is, it's sheep. So if you can hear bear. I have heard about the criticisms with this author, kind of looks down her nose a little bit, and apparently somewhere in this book she does make a bit of a comment towards people who are homeless due to substance or alcohol abuse, and she kind of thinks like, oh well, we're not like that, you know, she has that kind of attitude, and a lot of people called her out on that. So I don't know what to make of that, because I don't know how true that is. I don't know, well, it must be, because people have called her out on it, but I don't know. What I'm saying is, I don't know what her statement is on that. I don't know how kind of, was that just a throwaway comment, which is still not good, I get that, but I don't know. But when I saw something on TikTok where she did an interview for this, like a press interview, and to promote this movie that's come out since the book. She was telling the story of how somebody who was homeless, a young person who was in his early 20s, he read from the Big Issue, because her article was in the Big Issue. And if you don't know what the Big Issue is, it's a magazine, a free magazine. Well, no, it's not free actually. I think you pay £1 or something like that. And so homeless people will, they get paid to sell the magazine to you, and it's got stuff about homelessness and charities, and it's basically, it supports, when you buy the magazine, it supports homeless people. And she had an article in there, and somebody was inspired from it who was homeless, and he did the walk that she did, and I think he was homeless due to alcohol abuse. You know, if you know what I mean by that. So obviously he lost his home because he was spending money on his addiction, you know, blah blah blah. And she was thought very highly of him, and she was saying it in this interview. So I don't know how credible, true, or whatever. I don't know. I guess I won't know till I read this, and yeah, we'll see. I felt like I went on a right tangent about that, so I forget that it blurs, like, I have heard very mixed things. I think a couple of booktubers that I've listened to have said very mixed things about this. Some people love it, some people have been like, it was so boring. I will always remember this as the movie we watched on our honeymoon. So then I bought this book, which is A Bookshop of One's Own by Jane Sholomely. Sorry, I'm not quite sure how you pronounce that surname, I'm really sorry. Sholomely, I think. I'm sorry. And it's foiled actually. I didn't notice that actually. I actually honestly did not notice that. It's foiled. That's so pretty. So this I bought from Gay on Y, which is a new one that I haven't seen since I last went to Hay on Y, because when we last went it was about 2 years ago, so they must have recently opened. I think they did have a shop actually, but it was further on out, so they've obviously moved in, which I would highly recommend. The people in there were really friendly, and they had really great merch in there, and the books were beautiful, and it was just a really nice thing. And on the edge of that they also have like a little record shop. This caught my eye because I really wanted to buy a book, because I thought I really want to support them. This is again true story. There's a bookshop on Charing Cross Road in London, and it was opened by this woman, Jane. In Thatcher's Britain, against a backdrop of misogyny and homophobia, this underdog business would defy the odds and grow to become the biggest women's bookshop in Europe. So basically it talks about how that came to be. From what I can gather, it's a bookshop owned and run by women, and I believe they're gay women, and essentially it goes through their struggle of that, especially during Thatcher's rule. I don't know what to call Thatcher's reign. If you don't know who Thatcher is, Margaret Thatcher is, or was rather, a prime minister in the UK in the 70s and late 60s. I'm not sure because I wasn't alive then, guys, so please don't come for me, but she was not popular. She was a conservative, she was vile. We don't like Thatcher. She was not nice, she was not good. I wouldn't be surprised if they make like a TV series or movie from this, because I think it's one of those type of books. But yeah, last day, I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna try and read a bit more Gone Girl. Yeah, and that's it, and then we go back tomorrow and honeymoon's all done. But yeah, that's it for now. Hopefully I'll update you with the next book I read, and that's all. See you in the next clip. So it's a Sunday morning, and I thought I'd just hop on here because I've just read the iconic monologue from the book I'm reading, Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn, and I didn't realise it was slightly different from the movie. I've never watched the movie, although I do plan to after I've read the book. But you know the call girl monologue, and if you know, oh my god, I cannot speak today. If you know, you know. And it is different from the movie, because I have heard the movie monologue, because that's like everywhere. When did this book come out? Hang on, let me just have a look, guys. 2012. Okay, 2012. And we're in 2025 now, and it's still relevant. Like, it's still relevant. I don't know how many years that is, I can't do math, but that is... I get it. Yeah. I'm kind of speechless, honestly. And she gets it. If you don't know what the hell I'm going on about, look up the Gone Girl, or just type in Google Gone Girl monologue, because it's too long for me to read it all. It's like a half-hour video just for me to read it. Actually, it's not that long. I don't know why. I thought I was going to really talk. I thought I was going to be intellectual here and talk to you guys, but I've ended up just going...
I'm speechless.
not giving you anything, not giving you any context. So it starts about here on page 250 of this edition that I've got, and it goes on. So you've got from back here to here to here to here, and then it sort of stops there. And I finished it, and I was like, I started reading this, like the first half, it wasn't given, guys. It was a bit boring. And I know this author because I've read Sharp Objects, and she's known to do like a big twist at the end. I was playing the girl who was in style, the girl a man like Nick wants, the cool girl. Men always say that as the defining compliment, don't they? She's a cool girl. Being the cool girl means I am hot, brilliant, funny woman who adores football, poker, dirty jokes and burping, who plays video games, drinks cheap beer, loves threesomes and anal sex, and jams hot dogs and hamburgers into her mouth like she's hosting the world's biggest culinary gangbang, while somehow maintaining a size 2, because cool girls are above all hot. Hot and understanding. Cool girls never get angry. They only smile in a chagrined, loving manner and let their men do whatever they want. Go ahead, shit on me, I don't mind, I'm the cool girl. I've had these thoughts. Every woman has at some point, and you will. If you haven't, you will. That bit alone is honestly one of the best monologues I've ever read for a very long time. I don't know if it's ever. Actually, you know what? Yeah, fuck it, it is. And now I'm like, what is going on? Because they're both crazy. These characters, what's her fucking name? Amy and Nick. They are insane. Like, so we're following mainly Nick. It goes to their point of view. So it goes one chapter's, well, I don't know, it's a chapter, segment, whatever you want to call it. One bit is Amy's and one bit is Nick's, and it goes back and forth between their POVs, and it's rather her like diary entry, I think. And it's like, yeah, it's flashbacks, flash forwards. She's gone missing, and it's an unreliable like the husband is an unreliable, well, they're both unreliable narrators. I'm kind of getting frustrated because I want to know what's going on. And I was speaking to Andy about this because he's actually watched the movie, and he said it is really good. Guys, I'm just mind blown by this book. I'm literally sat here like, because it's suddenly picking up. I really wasn't sure about this, but it's actually getting really good. I'm going to end it there, and I'm going to update you as I read, because, or if I finish it. But yeah, really good, really freaking good. So as I'm filming this today is the last day of June, it's the 30th of June, tomorrow's July, which means it's the end of this vlog. But I thought I would come on and just tell you about a few more books that I have finished. I realised in the last clip I went on about Gone Girl and I didn't actually update you. But yeah, I finished Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. Yeah, it ended up being 3 stars, which is fine, but it's not great. It's just very middle of the road book. This is a very clear example, middle of the road for me. It's really hard to say much about it because it's like, it was just that, you know? The monologue itself, I'm still mind blown. I want that on a t-shirt, guys. I want it on a t-shirt. Like, I love it. I think it's brilliant. I think it's one of the best monologues I have ever read. It's like she read my mind. I still can't get over it. I'm still shook. The actual story is kind of insane. But yeah, I don't know what it is about this author, because like I said, I've read another book by her called, is it Sharp Objects? And again, I found it very like, it was okay, although I did prefer this slightly more. I believe she has one other book out, I think. I think it's maybe time to let her go because she's just okay. I feel kind of embarrassed coming on here, more like, guys, it was 3 stars after all that. Yeah, Gillian, I don't know, girl, you kind of fell a bit flat, I'm not gonna lie. I do like the twists, I do like the characters, I do like the story. It's annoying because I should love this. This is everything I love. And I think it's the writing. And I'm finding actually, and I thought this about a lot of the books I'm going to be showing you in a minute, I think I'm realising the writing actually is more important to me sometimes than even the character and the characters and all the plot. If I don't vibe with the writing, I just can't get with it. Even if the plot is kind of good, even if the characters are really well done, I just really want to like it, but I couldn't get into it. Do I think it's overhyped? Yes. I feel like it's so popular, I feel like people are going to hate me for it, but it's just my opinion, you know. I do get why people like it. I'm going to put this down now because we did actually watch the movie after, because I do like to see a movie or the adaptation whether that's movie, TV show, whatever, after I read the book. For me personally, it was, again, okay. I didn't know really what to expect. It stars Ben Affleck as the male lead and Rosamund Pike, I think that's how you say her name, as the female lead. It was good, it was very well done, the acting was good, but again, I found the same problems I had with the book. Oh, I don't know what it is. I'm not articulate at the best of times, but this is just, I really can't explain why it wasn't gelling for me. Maybe it was the writing, maybe I just wasn't quite in the mood for it. I know that it is quite a feminist book, and I do get the message, and I get what it's trying to say. And I would say, like, if you do get the chance to watch the movie, then watch it, but I wouldn't necessarily go out of your way for it, but it is a good movie. I do like, is it Amy, is that her name? I do like her character in the book and in the film. I think Rosamund Pike, I think that's her name. She's really, really good in it. I'm rambling like, the monologue, I will never forget the monologue. Okay, I would never forget you, monologue, go on girl, monologue. And I had heard the monologue before, like I said, in the film, because I've seen TikToks, and I always thought it sounded cool, but I don't know, to see it in Word, it's so much better, and I think the book one is slightly different to the movie one, I think. But anyway, just to read it myself, it just, I don't know, something, yeah, it just worked for me in that time. I read on my Kindle The Prison Doctor by Dr. Amanda Brown. This was really good. This is it's kind of self-explanatory, but it's a memoir of a doctor who worked in, or works in a prison as a doctor. And this one specifically talks more about her experience working in a female prison. I have read another book, the book before that one, which I think it's just a general book about working in prisons and her experience working in prison. This one, I think she worked in a female prison, if I believe. I think I gave the other book 3 stars and this one was 4 stars. I liked this, it was good, it was interesting. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I think the only problem I couldn't quite give it a 5 stars, and I did see a lot of these criticisms in the reviews, and I totally agree, is that there were some parts in it where I don't know if the author still works or still practices, I should say, as a doctor, and I don't know if she still does it in the prisons. I don't know. I don't remember her saying anything like she was retired or anything like that. So I don't know. But there was almost this, it came across sometimes, and I don't think the author intended it to be that way, but it came across a little bit disingenuous, because it was almost like she was like, yeah, things can get tough, but on the whole everything's hunky-dory, everyone gets on, everyone's like, hey Dr. Brown. I'm not buying it, you know. I don't know, maybe it is like that. I've never been to prison, I don't know. It's hard to explain really, but I feel that there were some parts where she would say like, oh, there were moments with her, I don't like to call them characters because they're real people, but with these people that she would treat in prison, and they would always be like, they'd always kind of speak the same. And I get that obviously you can't put word for word what that person said, one, because of legal issues I presume, and B, because memory. You're not going to remember, are you? But you get the gist of it, I get that. But it's like, they would go, yes, Dr. Brown, of course, Dr. Brown, lovely to meet you, Dr. Brown. And I just feel like, would female prisoners really all be speaking like that? I had a bit of a problem with that, and I mean, yeah, there was little things like that, so I can't quite give it a full 5 star. It's very middle of the road 4 star. It's not even a high 4 star, I would say. It was just, yeah, standard 4 star. But those little kind of problems I had with it. But overall, it was good, it was interesting, and I would recommend, if you're into that kind of thing, then yes, you will like this. Actually, I just realised how random my reading is, because like, I've gone from like a kind of psychological thriller to memoir to now like a kid's book. And this is Roald Dahl, guys, this is Roald Dahl, and it's Going Solo and Boys Tales of Childhood. And I've put these two together because they're usually sold as like one book, and I do see them as kind of one book, even though technically they're 2 books. But I'm going to talk about them together because they're very similar. They are the same. It's Roald Dahl's autobiography, and he talks in this one, so this is the first one, this is more about him at school and like when he was a kid, basically up until I think about the age of about 12, hence why it's called Boy. And this one is more about, I think, details more about his time working as an RAF pilot in East Africa during the Second World War. I gave this one 4 stars and I gave this one 3 stars, and that's just because with this one it was a lot more kind of it was just funny, and he as a kid played a lot there's like a story of him doing like a prank on this woman who was, they didn't, him and his friends, they didn't really, well, it's not that they didn't get on with her, she was a bit of a freaking bitch, to be honest. He owned a sweet shop, and for no reason, they weren't really even that horrible, you know. She was just vile, and they played a bit of a harmless prank on her, and yeah, they really got their kind of comeuppance for that, didn't they? I know this is like a really different era and stuff. I believe, was this the 1920s and 30s he grew up as a kid? I think it might have been. And yeah, it's crazy because he went to a boarding school at one point, and like kids those days, I know like people always talk about it, but they really did get the shit beaten out of them for like no reason. Like he could literally be looking somewhere else and a teacher would come around and whack him across the face. But it's so funny because his attitude's like, oh, and
It's jolly well fun.
he's a bit like that, and I was thinking, oh god, is he like one of those people that's like,
we should be getting kids in schools and in home and everything, and it's really healthy, it never did me any harm.
he did actually kind of say, I'm against this, by the way, like I am against this, this is not something I've never understood, so I like that. And I know that's kind of like, well yeah, duh, you should be like that, but it's, for someone coming from that era, that's kind of like unheard of. So for him to be like, yeah, I'm against like physical violence on kids, basically, which is insane to me that, you know, that's actually a view that everyone should have, but not many people do, because you always hear people from his era not being like that. So yeah, Roald Dahl, you kind of cool, huh? This one talks more about his time, obviously, like I said, when he was a pilot for the RAF. I'm not gonna lie, I found this one a little bit boring. A little bit, it just didn't quite, I don't know, it wasn't as funny as this one. Like I actually found myself sort of chuckling at this one, whereas this one was a bit kind of, you know, I'm not really into military stuff, I don't really care, I don't agree with it, but I get it for this kind of stuff, for this historical context thing, like it is quite interesting. Yeah, Roald Dahl had a very interesting life, that's what I've learned about reading about him. Very interesting, very vivid, interesting, amazing life. Like wow, he's really had a life, and you can sort of see where his inspirations come from, especially in the first one he talks about how he kind of got the inspiration for Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I am trying to build my Roald Dahl collection up, so yeah, I will be trying to read more from him. His mum is a freaking badass, like she is amazing. I want to hear more about his mum. Like he kind of goes, yeah, my mum's cool, kind of thing, and I'm like, I want to hear more about her because I just think she sounds amazing. Like, so she was, I think his parents, I think, are both from Norway, I think. Or is she Welsh, or did they move to Wales? I don't know. But anyway, she's a woman of her time. So I think this was in the 1920s or 30s. Yeah, I said that. And she was raising 5 kids, including Raoul, right? And so 4 of those were girls, and he was the only boy. And I think he was the youngest as well, I think, or like the middle, second youngest. I don't know. But she was doing this by herself because her husband died when I think Raoul was about 4 or 5 when he died. And by the way, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing Roald Dahl's name wrong. I think it's Roald Dahl, but I could be wrong. And if I am, let me know. Yeah, and she just took no shit. Like, for example, in this book, when he played this prank on this like sweet shop lady who's really mean to him and his friends, he did this really harmless prank. And I'm not going to go into it too much, but essentially the headmaster ended up getting involved and basically whacked him one, like absolutely went to town on him, right? And he went home and he didn't tell his mum directly, but she kind of saw the scars. She's like, who the hell did this? And he was like, oh, it's nothing, mum. And she was like, I want to know. And so she goes marching down to this head teacher where he lives, right, walking, because obviously back then they didn't really have, like, motor cars were only just becoming a thing. She basically goes in there, she's like,
Who the hell do you think you are?
and the headmaster's like,
Behave yourself, woman.
and she's basically like,
You can go home, like you can literally not ever lay a finger on my child.
he is shook, like he is like, the drama. It's just the drama, guys. And ever since then she's like, I'm pulling him out of school. And he's like, you can't do that because he's still got like 3 terms left or something, I don't know, 3 months left. And she's like,
He's going. I don't care if he has to move him all the way to England. I'm doing that because he's not coming here.
she's so badass, and you can tell she really loves and cares for her children. And she's doing this in a time where women, you know, women didn't have a lot of rights. And I wanted to hear more about her because she just sounded like a woman of her time, like a really badass baddie, you know? And that's probably why he's so, like, good. I rant about Roald Dahl and his family. I should have started with this one, really. This is Calla by Colin Walsh. I literally just finished this, guys, and I hate doing this because this was gifted to me by my mother-in-law for Christmas. I struggled with this, I'm not gonna lie. So what is this about, I hear you ask? It's set in Ireland and it's about a teenage girl who goes missing, and she has these group of friends and they're all really close. and all their kind of families are sort of connected. If they're not like relatives and they're friends, or like they know each other really well, they're like, it's all very like small town island. And yeah, and to be honest with you, I couldn't really tell you what this is about because it did lose me a lot in parts, and it's like quite, I don't know, it's kind of quite big actually. How many pages is this? It's actually like 400 odd pages. No wonder I struggle with this. Mystery in it, it's small town, it's all this kind of stuff, but I just couldn't, I don't know what it was. And I did not like the writing, that was the thing. Again, the writing, I just couldn't get on board with the writing. I believe this is this author's debut, so I do feel bad, and like I really wanted to like it, I did, and I might try this author one more time. If he brings out something else, I might just try him, but I just struggled, guys, with the writing. And there was a thing, and I don't know what it's called. Is it called like third person narrative? Is that it? They talk in third person, but like they say, I'm trying to think of an example. Like they say, instead of saying like, I went to go to the toilet, they'll say like, and you went to the toilet because you needed a wee. And like, I hate that. Only time it kind of works is in fan fiction. Also sometimes read a little bit like poetry. Again, don't know the literary term for that. But yeah, and I struggled. Not for me, sorry. That was a 2-star, unfortunately. That's everything. Before I go though, I've got my TBR jar, so I thought I'd choose my next read for, because obviously we're going into July now.
Let's give it a good shake.
I think I said this at the start of my vlog, but I do need to update this because it hasn't got all my rereads on it, and it's got books in there that I've taken off now because I'm like, I know I'm not gonna like that. What have we got? No, I saw this the other day in Aldi. It's Sweet Pea by CJ Skews. You're not going to see that, but yeah, that's what it is. And I'm so annoyed about this because we literally saw it in Aldi the other day, and I was like,
no, I'm not going to get it. I got enough books.
And it's like £2, and I kind of want the physical copy now. I might want to tab it. I knew it. I know I should have got it. That's a lesson for you. Just get it, especially if it's like £2. Like, just get it. I don't want to be responsible for your debts, but because isn't there like a TV series, but I think it's more the prequel or something, I don't know. And I wanted to watch the TV series, but I want to read the book first. The Sweet Peas come up. Interesting. If it is cheap on my Kindle, I probably should get it on my Kindle, and I guarantee if we go to Aldi now, it's gone. But it was there the other day when I saw it, so maybe not. If you can hear like kind of buzzing in the background, I don't know what it will pick up, but that's my fan, because currently in England it is like crazy hot. All you need to know is in the UK we have no air conditioning, and we live on a small island. Yeah. Do we not have an air conditioning, I hear you say? I don't know, because we don't do extreme weather. we should have air conditioning, we should have everything under the sun, because this is actually insane. So literally you can't see the room, but everything's drawn, all the windows are open, my fan's on, but it's just blowing warm air. But at least it's something, because I'd rather have a fan than no fans, if you know what I mean. I read 12 books this month. It's really good reading month for me, because normally, as you may or may not know, I average about 9 books a month, so 12 books is really good for me. And you know, bearing in mind that I had quite a busy month this month, so yeah, so let's see what July will bring. My favourite book of the month that I've read is probably The Heart by David Sodergren. I hope I'm saying that right. Yeah, did not expect to love it as much as I did. I did obviously talk about it more, so I'm going to go over that and over that again. But yeah, I think it's just because I thought it was going to be a 3-star or a 4-star. But yeah, 5 stars. Although more of a low 5-star, but it was still 5-star, 100%. And my least favourite book that I read was probably The Covent Garden Ladies by Hallie Rubenhold. That was very disappointing. I thought I was going to love it, or at least like it, at least a 3 or 4-star. But no, nothing, didn't do anything for me. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and yeah, my first ever YouTube reading vlog video. So I hope you guys liked it, and if there is anything else that you would like me to do, or you've got any suggestions or book recs for me or anything like that, let me know in the comments. Or if you have any questions, I will try and answer them in the comments, but if not, I might even answer them in a video or something. Yeah, let me guys know, and let me guys know. My accent's coming out there. Thank you so very much for watching, and I will see you in the next vlog. Thank you.